Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the Shout Our Struggle podcast. I am here with a very, very special guest, my teen in the Miss America organization, Brooke Meisenhelter. And Brooke, why don't you introduce yourself to my audience?
Yes, hi, I'm Brooke. I am Belle's amazing teen.
Yes, you are.
I yeah, I've been a competitive dancer I've been dancing since I was 3 and I've been competing for I believe this is my third or fourth year now. That's my talent. I would not be nearly where I am today without dance. I love it dearly. I am a junior in high school. I'm actively involved. I'm a manager for everything. It's currently baseball season, and I'm thrilled. I love baseball season. And I love Taylor Swift.
Oh, yes.
100%.
Yes, absolutely.
Always
I have a Taylor Swift. People that are listening can't see it. There's a Taylor Swift candle of Taylor Swift is Jesus on my shelf. Brooke and I love to listen to Taylor.
I have like all of her books from like the school like book fairs over there and her signed CDs.
I
Oh,
love
I
that about
love
us. I love that about
always.
us.
Yeah, agreed. It's the only thing we can ever listen to in the car.
Yes, literally. It's like which album are Brooke and I gonna put on today?
Right. It's Reputation Day. Is it Lover? What's it gonna be?
So Brooke, to just get to the nitty-gritty here,
Okay.
let's dive in. First thing that we're going to talk about is your social impact initiative, which is kind of in line with mine. So, do you want to talk about the advocacy work you're doing and what exactly it is and like why it's important to you? Let's just like dive in.
Yes. My social impact initiative is on social media's effects on beauty standards and how social media has a false perception of beauty. So, why
Mhm.
it's important to me is pretty much because growing up, like especially as a dancer, like I was always looking in the mirror and I was always like surrounded by a bunch of girls who were all different body types and everyone looked different. And you're standing in the mirror and you're looking at everyone else and you're looking at yourself. Not only do you pick out all the little insecurities about yourself because you're standing in front of yourself for hours a day, but you're also starting to compare yourself to the girls around you. But then, especially when COVID hit, like you're on your phone, like this little device took over everyone's lives. And I feel like
Yeah.
everyone can agree with that. So I lived all of my life through my phone. Like even in
Mm.
classes, like I'm going to be completely honest, like I was on my phone half the time because it was just a reiteration of the day before. Like we were not actually learning anything. So everyone sat on their phones. Our cameras were off, nobody was listening. So when everyone turned to social media, you're scrolling through and you're seeing these fitness models and these
Mm.
brand ambassadors, and you're like, why are they all like these skinny hourglass shaped twigs? Like they're all the same person with different faces. Like they're the same.
Mhm.
And then you can't help but think to yourself, like, why don't I look like that? And like going back to like the beginning of COVID, I was 15 at the time. Like my
Oh,
body is
wow.
still developing. Like honestly, I was 14. My 15th birthday was in quarantine. So I'm
Ew.
14 years old. My body's still developing. Like I'm still growing into womanhood. Like, and I'm sitting in the mirror thinking, like, whoa, like I need to change my eating habits. I need to start working out. Like, what is going on with me? And
Mhm.
that just took the biggest toll on me because it affected my dancing, it affected my learning, it affected my health. Like everything was just messy.
Mhm.
So then my friends started realizing, my sister started realizing, and everyone was like, what is going on with you? And then I was like, this isn't good. So then when I was finally able to pull myself back out of it with like the help of my friends and everything, I was like, I do not want anyone else to ever have to go through that again. And I'm not gonna completely say that I'm completely fine now and that like I don't have any insecurities or any flaws in the world because I still look at myself in the mirror for hours a day. So of course I'm going to notice things about myself that I love a little less than others, but I've learned to accept myself and realize that like this is the body I was given, so why try and change that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it's like so important to me, which is why I'm trying to start at the roots of small businesses to try and get more body representation, to have more like body inclusivity
Girl, you
within.
never say that word right.
I never do. Every time I say
Inclusivity.
We'll get there.
You're gonna get there eventually. You're like you're
Okay.
really close. I'm like,
Every time it changes slightly, and
it
we kind
does.
of think
I
of a
really
new.
appreciate your creativity.
I know, right? And I found a website out of it. We found a website out of it. So
It is a website. That is true.
inclusivity.com is a website.
If
So
Danielle is listening, that's for you.
I actually ended up Googling the word later on.
Inclusivity.
Yes, to find the website to see what it was about. But yeah, I'm trying to get more representation and create all-inclusive
Mhm.
campaigns for those small businesses.
What exactly do those campaigns look like?
Yeah, so the companies we end up modeling their clothing. So whether that's jewelry, clothing, sweatpants, like no matter what the gear itself is, we would then model in those items and then send those to the brands for them to post on social media to have more representation. And then
Mhm.
we also have that on our part to share with those brands. So not only are the brands getting more of like an outreach towards people, but they also have a positive outlook now that they have more representation.
Mhm. So when you say we model the clothes, like who are these models? Where are you getting them from?
Yes. So as of right now, I'm using people like within my school and dance and like people like closer to me.
Mhm.
But moving forward, like creating more campaigns, I'd like to get people off of like my social media and I'd like to start posting to see like who has felt the same ways as me, where you feel that you don't have any representation whatsoever, which is extremely discouraging to where you feel you shouldn't be able to model, you shouldn't be able to be in these campaigns because I want to give everyone a fair chance. Like there's no reason you shouldn't be able to, especially if that's a dream of yours.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that having a body like to look at that looks like yours being represented is really important. And I don't know if you've seen this on TikTok, Brooke, but there's been a trend recently.
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah,
Like
where
pull the
girls will
t-shirts.
draw their body type.
Oh,
And
that one.
yeah,
I've
so
heard of, yeah.
they'll draw it'll be like two lines and it'll be one that's like their back and
Yeah.
one that's their front. It's like shout out to girls with body types like mine. I really have been enjoying that, but then someone took the trend and like changed it to like this is what I think my body looks like and this is what my boyfriend
This
thinks
is
it
what
looks
I
like.
actually, yeah.
The original was a lot more powerful to me, but then
I
again,
agree.
like because it wasn't a matter of like how other people see you, it's a matter of how you see you. And I
Yourself.
think that when you see yourself in other people, like that's such a strong thing because you feel like you're not being sold on a false narrative that people all look perfect or all look one way. Um,
Agree.
and I just thought that
I
the
also
trend was so interesting.
I also enjoyed the trend where they like outlined their face because
Mm.
I personally have always felt like outlining things like when you take it away from something and put like an outline on the back screen, like I don't know if you can see like my pictures up there. I've always loved outlines, like drawings of things. I think they're
Mhm.
so elegant and so simplistic. So like seeing your face drawn out like that, like I personally did that trend. I mean, I'm not an artist whatsoever, hence why I
No,
never
me neither.
posted it. But I just think like even though like you're enhancing your flaws, like it makes such a beautiful outcome. So I loved that trend too.
Mhm.
But the trend I thought you were talking about was more of like a negative trend that I completely dislike. But there was a trend going around and it was like everyone like the title like of it, like the caption on the videos would be like, oh, like everyone thinks I'm fat because I wear like baggy clothes, and then they would like lift up their shirt quick to like show that they're not. And I would block every video that came up on it. I would click not interested, not interested, not interested. And then eventually I ended up blocking the sound because I just thought it was so
I did
discouraging
not
and
see
so
that.
degrading. So utterly
Yeah,
degrading.
that's just
It was
disappointing.
disgusting.
There's something that have you heard of body checking before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for people that are listening that don't know what body checking is pretty much the process of obsessively looking at your own body to see what it looks like, seeing if it's changed, seeing if there's something wrong with it. It's definitely something that I've struggled with before. Not so much right now, but um, at one point like I did have an obsession with body checking and it's something that people have brought on to social media that I think is really toxic and body checking for the validation of other people, and like really projecting that vision you have of yourself onto others, which it's okay to struggle with your body image. Like, I think everyone does, and I think that there's a lot of false narratives about what bodies need to look like, but when we're creating trends surrounding body checking, it's perpetuating an issue, it's not solving it. Like,
Yeah.
it's something that we need to start holding ourselves accountable for, and what we're consuming and promoting, like what is blowing up and going viral. um there's such a like the two trends we talked about, like they contrast so much, really. And
Agreed.
like I really applaud you for blocking all of those things, and like
Right, because engaging in them only makes it worse because then people like it boosts the algorithm and then more people are seeing it and then it degrades more people and not only that but then more people start participating in these trends that you should not be participating in.
yeah.
So engaging in videos like the one you shared, like that on the other hand is something you should boost the algorithm for and get more
Mhm.
people to see it because it's more beneficial. However, the one I
Definitely.
mentioned should not be and should
Yeah.
never have been in the first place.
Do you think to a certain extent, like, maybe that's not the question I want to ask. That's not the question I want to ask. The better question is, how do you think that we can hold ourselves accountable with social media and like portraying accurate body standards, or yeah, accurate body image, body standards? Like, yes, you're working with companies and developing these all-inclusive campaigns for body image, but like what can we do on an individual level to
Yeah.
deal with that?
I feel like it can honestly start as simple as, for example, some of the accounts that you've sent me, they're positive, they're encouraging.
Mhm.
Not only does it have to be like a person itself, it could be a quote of the day. I
Mhm.
personally follow so many quote of the days, so many motivational like
Mhm.
Instagrams, because then when you're scrolling on your feed every day, it's positive, it's
Mhm.
uplifting, and it's great motivation for your morning, for your day. Like it keeps me going, honestly. But
Yeah.
not only that, but like people as well. Like if you find a creator that, let's say you like the gym, like I know personally you do, Belle.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you live at the gym. So when you're working out, like, would you rather see someone who only portrays, like, only shows the good that they do,
Mhm.
or would you want someone who shows you how to get better and motivates you? Like,
Right.
there's like a difference. Like someone degrading versus someone motivational. Like maybe that's someone we should unfollow and someone we
Yeah.
should follow.
Something that I saw some fitness influencers talking about. So there's a lot of different people in like the Fitspo space, that just
Yeah.
the way that they market, I understand why they do it, but it's harmful. So, I don't know. So the some of the accounts I sent you, Brooke, the first one I love is Defining Fitness. She's great.
I like that one.
She
She is
she
great.
posts amazing realistic body standards all the time. She'll post like, this is what I look like in this lighting, and this is lightning. Whoa. This is what I look like in this lighting, and this is what I look like in this lighting, and
Yeah,
these
I
were
loved
taken
her angle.
seconds apart. And I
Yeah,
think that that's really powerful. And then there's another girl, her name's Kira Gerard. I believe that's her name. And I don't know if I ever sent her to you, but she
I don't think
is
you
like
did.
a certified trainer, body positivity, like anti-diet culture, all really great things. Um
Okay.
and I think it may have been her who was talking about fitness influencers who will post what I eat in a day, but the way that they start off the video is a picture of their abs. And
Agreed.
it's like, if you eat this, you're gonna have abs. Like,
You're
that's
gonna
like
get
the implication. And it's also just like, if you're eating healthy, you may not even have abs. Everyone has different metabolisms, everyone has different bodies, and so to like equate those two things just is not like, that's selling such a false narrative. And like, to a certain extent, I think that like fitness influencers and us as individuals have a responsibility to ourselves and to each other to really be honest about our bodies and our lives in general. Like, it goes beyond just photoshopping your body. Like, are you being genuine, like,
exactly.
on the internet in general, or are you selling a false narrative that's unattainable for even you?
Especially if you're trying to like show your progress. Like that's not progression if you're faking it. Like
Mm.
it's not progression if it's not reality.
Yeah. So what would you tell like other girls your age or I mean even girls my age like how can we how can we protect ourselves and like our psyches from like being harmed by these types of ideas?
Just being more aware. Like honestly, when I was growing up, like I was handed this phone and I was like told by all my friends, like, oh, like this is what Instagram is, this is how you use it, this is what Snapchat is, this is how you use it. But I was never actually told like these girls like this is what Photoshop is, like this is an editing app. Like I didn't know until a few weeks ago that you could edit videos. I
Yeah.
saw it on TikTok that you can edit videos.
Yeah,
I
Danae
didn't
Miller,
know
Mercer, no,
that.
Danae Mercer, like she posts how like look at how I Photoshop this video all the time. There's some really good accounts out there that are doing the work, but they are not the ones that are popular. Yeah, but yeah, like you can edit videos. That's
Like I
insane.
did not know that until weeks ago. Like I wish people like brought this to my attention like when I was younger growing up because I followed all these people that in my eyes were perfect and then they were not realistic. Like they were fake and I had absolutely no idea. I had no idea whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I was like I need to be her, but she wasn't what she looked to be.
Mhm.
So honestly, I feel like that's what girls need to realize more like
Mhm.
and honestly, even me now, like I just found out about the video thing. Like there's still things that I'm unaware of that like I'm educating myself on more now, but it's things that need to be talked about more.
Yeah, definitely. I wish that there was like some all inclusive guide for young girls on social media. Like I feel like it would be so helpful and not just for young girls, but for older women as well and people my
I
age.
think we should create one.
Honestly, let's do it. I'm down. Like I'm down to do that. Because I know a lot of people talk about social media literacy, but that's more in a sense of like being aware of what you post in terms of what's like acceptable and professional, and like it needs to be more than that. Um,
Right. Because it's not always professional. It's not always this perfect thing. Like
no,
it's you're sharing your life. You're not sharing it.
yeah,
Everyone thinks it's just a highlight reel, but like it's not. It's not just your highlights in life. Like show you having fun. Like you don't have to look perfect in everything.
mm-hmm.
People take things too seriously. I feel like that's where things go wrong.
Yeah. Social media is supposed to be about being social.
Connected to people.
Yeah.
It's social because you're being connected to people.
Yeah, and a lot of people like even in daily life, like this is past social media. Like it really is. In daily life, people will disconnect from themselves to connect to others. And like that is something that I definitely fell into a trap of, especially when I was in high school. And just like not being authentic for the fear of like rejection. And it was not like finding a space where you feel as though you can be yourself and you'll be accepted for it and you don't have to worry that your friends are going to hate you if you say one thing wrong, well not even wrong, but one thing that like doesn't fit into like their standard of what people should be, and it's all like projected insecurities onto each other, and it's just a bad situation. Speaking of which,
Yes.
let's get into a little bit of a different topic because um
Yes.
I mean out there's things going on in your life outside of the Miss America organization and outside of, I mean, obviously your advocacy extends past being a title holder in the Miss America organization, as does mine, and I think that's true for most of the women that participate in the
100%.
program.
Yes.
So, being your friend, I know that
Yes.
there are some situations in life being a high schooler that are not the most ideal. So let's kind of talk
So
about it. I don't even know how to bring it up. Like I really
no,
don't, but
I
I
think
think it's
no,
important
you keep
because
going.
yeah,
No,
it's
it is.
relatable.
It
Yeah.
is.
So
I
yeah, you can say whatever you want to say about it, and I'm just gonna let you go.
right. I've definitely had my fair share of friend. trauma. So I was not the most popular person ever since middle school. Honestly, even in elementary school. But honestly, it's one of those things where I just had to learn to distance myself from certain people and find other
Mhm.
people that made me more comfortable. Cause growing up like in elementary school, let's start there. Imagine being like a little fifth grader. Like I was in fifth grade when this would happen, and kids would make fun of me because I would get the fun leggings with like the little cookies on them, or like all the little like snacks and like little peeps and stuff.
That's so cute.
And people hated it. Like no, like I got made fun of so much for it to the point where like I stopped wearing it. Like I just never
Mm,
touched it again
mhm.
because they just made me feel so horribly about it. And I mean, I was definitely a funky kid. Like I was not your normal average. Like I was a kid. Like you know what I mean? Like but a lot of the girls in my grade, like as times are changing, like kids are maturing so fast. Like half of my grade when I was in fifth grade had phones before me. I
Wow.
didn't get a phone until middle school, which honestly I thought was early for me because I didn't think I needed one. The only reason I really honestly got one was because I was going home after school on the bus and my parents were still at work. So I was home alone. So I needed a way to contact them and we got rid of our home phone. So
Mhm.
honestly, if it weren't for something like that, I probably wouldn't have even gotten one in sixth grade.
Yeah.
But half of these kids had had it since third grade. So they were already
Mhm.
maturing and developing before me, and they missed out on so much of their childhood that they ended up ruining my own.
Mm. Mhm.
So that was my first encounter with friends. They all made fun of me because of my cookie pants, pretty much.
I love your cookie pants. I never saw them, but I love them. I got made fun of a lot in middle school for a lot of things. There was I was bullied horribly, like really badly. Um, and my therapist and I are working through that. Thanks,
Great.
Liz. Um, but oh, I used to get these matching sweatsuits from
Ooh,
Kmart. When
okay.
Kmart was still open, and they would be like, I had one that was like periwinkle
Okay.
and it had a frog on it and it said something dumb. I don't know what it was, but I got made fun of for that. And then the other thing I got made fun of for, but I own it and I love it. I had this blue shirt with a green T-Rex on it that said "Rar means I love you" and dinosaur, and I got it because it was a meme and I thought it was funny, but other people didn't
That's
understand
funny.
that it was funny. And I was like, "No, this is a joke. I don't I don't really say that. Like I'm not cringy." They didn't get it. Some people are just not comedians the way that I'm a comedian and like that's fine.
No,
Like
agreed. Because
but
that's classic comedy.
that is called comedy. Like no one wears that
Right.
unironically. And if they do, I'm
No,
concerned. And
exactly.
if that's something that they like, that's fine. Let
Then,
people live
you
their
know,
lives. That's like the
agreed.
main things. Like let people live their lives and let kids be kids.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then growing up, like, through middle school,
Mhm.
I thought I had friends,
Mm.
and then
Oh,
the two girls that I thought were my friends, the
yeah.
two girls that I thought were my friends, we like became distant. And instead of them just accepting that we had become like distant or trying to work through it,
Mhm.
they ended up going like behind my back and like turning to social media as like a resource and a way to like kind of get back at me as like some sort of revenge.
Like cyberbullying you or
So pretty much what ended
oh,
up happening was like I was like, so you know how like when you're on Snapchat, like you can have streaks with people.
yes.
Okay, so I was going on vacation back in sixth grade, and I had asked the one girl who is my best friend since we were like little.
Keep your snap
To like
streak.
yes, to keep my Snap streaks. But wait
Brooke.
for it, 'cause the story gets better.
Oh
So
no.
she like we like saved it in the chat and everything because you know like she needed to keep up my streaks. I didn't want to lose them. They were like 30 days. Like they were a lot.
Wow, so that's a long time when you're a kid. 30 days is a long time to do anything consistently.
Exactly. And then by the time like seventh grade hits, it was either the end of seventh grade or like the beginning of eighth grade. I was just sitting at my lunch table and all of a sudden like I hear all the girls of my like the two girls that like used to be my friends just cracking up at my table. And like nobody else that sat at the lunch table because it was like a big round table and you could fit like 6 to 8 girls there.
Mhm.
So we all had a group chat because we were scared of those two girls. We all had a group
No.
chat and we would text about like, yo, like what are they laughing about? Like
Mhm.
what's going on? Like I'm really confused, like I'm kind
Mhm.
of uncomfortable. Because nobody invited those girls to sit with us, but none of us had the guts to tell them to leave because they had
Ooh.
never directly done anything to us. But then I noticed them doing that little thing where they'd be like, yo, like look at this, and they'd like point at their phone. And
Mhm.
then when I was leaving lunch, one of the girls that I'm still friends with now, she
Hey,
like comes up to
queen.
me. Yes, my queen. Hey, Car. She like ended up like coming up to me after lunch and was like, "Hey, like they were like in your Snapchat." Because like the way we would communicate was on text messages
Mm.
for like our group chat, thankfully, because like if not, they would have been able to like see the things that they were sending and how we were like nervous about what they were saying on
Yeah.
Snapchat. But it was in text messages. But I noticed that I couldn't like distract myself on Snapchat by like texting my friends on there because like I kept getting kicked out of it. And I thought it was just
Mm.
like a Wi-Fi issue or something. But then I found out later that it was because they had still had my information from when they did my streaks in 6th grade. So they were like going through my Snap memories and like making fun of all the little pictures in there. And
What?
they,
That's
yeah.
wow. Okay.
And
Yeah.
the best part was that I could not do anything about it because the girl's mom was my guidance counselor. So that was pretty great.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah. That
Brooke.
was middle school for me. And most of my bullying was done by those two girls. So
Mhm.
I really couldn't get any help because my guidance counselor was her mom.
So like,
So I didn't do anything.
we'll get into the stuff that's like more recent, like in a second. But
Yeah, we'll
like,
get there.
when you were being bullied, like how did that make you feel? Like how did that affect you?
Honestly, at that point in my life, I was completely like self-conscious. I like did not like myself in any way, shape, or form, just simply because of the things that these girls said. Like these girls were brutal, they were mean. So I did anything to like fit in with certain friends. So I would do anything. Like I had other friends that sat with me at that lunch table, none of which like actually ended up sticking up for me really. Like they all brought it to my attention afterwards, but no one really stuck up for me. Which I mean, like in 7th grade, like what really is a 7th grader gonna think to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I'm not
Right.
gonna blame anyone for that. But like I kind of did not cope with it at all. Like
Mhm.
other than crying, like any
Yeah,
other
there's
kid
not much
would,
else to do there.
there was nothing else because like I had no other resources really. Like I didn't know who to talk to. Like the
Mhm.
only things I'd known of at that point was talk to your guidance counselor if you're having a problem or talk to your mom. But my mom always tried to get heavily involved, not to the point where she would be that mom that got the other moms involved.
Mhm.
She was never to that point, but it was always to the point where I was like, well, mom, like I don't want to make it a bigger deal than it was. And she would
Yeah.
make it the deal that it actually was. But I just wanted to let it go and pretend it never
Yeah, your mom would
happened.
stand up for you and you were like, "No, don't do that."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was
I was
like,
that way.
no. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a really stubborn kid. I always
Mhm.
was. But I guess that's middle child syndrome.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I'm that way and I'm the youngest, so I don't know. I think, but also, Brooke, we are just like we're just the same person because you're telling these stories, and I'm like, okay, so like we went through the same thing, and
Right. It's
maybe
about
it's just
clothes,
that we're the same.
everything.
Maybe we're the same person, or maybe it's just that like this is a pattern that
It's
girls
really
go
common.
through that is not healthy, and it's not healthy for the people that are suffering from it, but it's also not healthy for the people that are the perpetrators of these things, and like
It leaves a toll both ways.
yeah, it's having that type of negativity in your life and participating in it actively is not something that is good for us as people. Like
And it
we
stems from someone.
well, Brooke, where it comes from is insecurity and projecting insecurity, and
Exactly.
that's something that you learn to check in with as you get older, and um like sometimes when I feel insecure, like my first thought will be to like will be something negative about someone else. And not that I would ever act on it, I wouldn't. But not even negative about someone else, but like knowing that the negative feeling I'm having comes from me not feeling secure in like my own
Yeah.
things. And I've never been one to take that out on other people. I mean, as far as I know, I've never bullied anyone. That's as far as I know. And
Okay.
my first instinct is to take it out on myself and bully myself. And that's also not healthy either because
No, not
insecurity
really.
insecurities can come out in a lot of different ways and people deal with it different ways. And like that's where it's coming from. Instead of being mean to themselves, which
They're
is
mean
really
to
what they're
others.
upset about, they're mean to other people. And that is not a good way to cope, and it's not fair to you and it's not fair to them. And
Yeah.
the bigger goal that needs to be taken care of like when it comes to bullying is giving people the tools to like themselves. Like let people like themselves like that. If I was running for president, my campaign would be allow people to enjoy things. Like that would literally be the whole campaign. That would be it.
Let kids can.
Economics, sure, I could figure that out. Foreign policy, I could figure that out. That's my last priority. My first priority is helping people enjoy their lives because that is such a it like that is the main problem. People just are not enjoying their lives.
Everything stems from the way you feel inside.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think that's a great campaign.
Yeah, when
They'll
we take care of ourselves, this is like my cliche thing that I love to say all the time. When we take care of ourselves, we take care of our communities. The way that we care for ourselves is reflected out into our community. And so if you're not healthy on the inside, you're not going to be a healthy member of your community, whether that be your school, your dance school, your club that you're in, your town, a citizen of the United States of America, or like a global citizen of the world. Like you can't be a healthy contributor to those things if you're not healthy yourself. And it's okay to need help, and like that's the point of having a community is saying I need help, but that's healthier than just dealing with it. So not me getting on my soapbox. Maybe I got on my soapbox a little bit. It
just
makes
a
me
little bit.
upset and like
No, but we love hearing it.
thanks, Brooke. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about like what's going on now, or you don't have to. You can.
No, it's okay. I can share. It's okay.
Okay.
It's a part of life, you know? You live and you learn.
True.
Right. So some of my friends through middle school followed me through high school, and the saying, I just don't trust people, I guess. Like I feel like that's just my biggest
I'm
issue.
gonna take a nap. Are you
Except for Belle. We trust Belle.
fine? What am I, chopped liver?
No, when people tell you like you're gonna walk out of high school with different friends that you came into high school with, like I never thought that was gonna be me.
Mm,
Because like my friends that I walked into high school with, like they were my best friends since like middle school.
mm.
I thought we were good. Like I thought we were endgame. Like we were planning each other's weddings at that point.
Oh,
Like no, it wasn't even like the wedding planning. It was more just planning like what each other's bridesmaid dresses were gonna be, so that we made sure we liked them.
help. I'm
Because we,
calling
you
the
know, we thought we were getting that far.
wow. And you're not even friends
And
anymore.
here we are, junior year.
Oh no.
So my friends, we were doing great, but I just always noticed that like things just seemed off. And it
Mhm.
wasn't like I hope they're doing great. Like I hope they have a great rest of their lives and I hope everything goes their way. Like I hope things go great for them. Like I don't wish anything bad against them
Right.
cuz love them. We had great memories and great time in the past, but
Mhm.
let's just leave it in the past. So, coming into high school, you're exposed to a completely different surrounding. Like you're maturing, everyone else is maturing. You're becoming actively involved in these clubs and activities that you weren't given the experiences of in middle school.
Right.
So as I started venturing out, especially once again when COVID hit, there were very limited things that we could do. So sports being one of them, like it was scarce, but since they were outdoors, like you could still be actively involved in sports. There were just a lot of requirements.
Yeah.
So I ended up picking up field hockey, which I no longer do now because I was not very good at it.
That's
But I
okay.
made some great friends also through Taylor Swift. I think that's just what brings me all my bonds.
Taylor
So I
Swift
ended up
brings the girlies together. That's for sure.
exactly, and you know what? Swifties are my people.
I mean, yeah, same.
Clearly,
110%.
clearly look at us. So I ended up meeting my best friends there. Shout out Katie and Sky.
Hey, Katie and
And
Sky, what's good?
we're still friends to this day. So at the time, Skylar was a senior. I was a sophomore. Katie was a junior. So we were all like sophomore, junior, senior, you know? So I became really good friends with Skylar at the time through Taylor Swift, obviously, from running, of all things. I don't even run, but of all
No
things,
help.
that's what we became friends from. So obviously, like being in high school, like it's tough to see your friends like venture off and like disassociate from you.
Hmm.
But like I feel like there's quite a fine line between like disassociating and like trying to make time for new friends too and new relationships.
Yeah.
And personally, I felt as though I was always putting those friends on top. But like at my dance studio, like I was friends with a lot of the seniors at the time. At school, I had become friends with a lot of the seniors, like since my freshman year, like
Hmm.
honestly. And it wasn't anything personal. Like it's not like I looked at their age and was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna be friends with people in my grade. It's only the
Yeah.
seniors that are gonna be my friends. Like it just so happened that they were the people that gravitated towards me and I gravitated back. Like, there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that in my
Age doesn't
opinion.
determine whether or not you can be friends with someone.
Exactly, because I like, what's it matter? Like,
Because it
when you're
doesn't.
in middle exactly, when you're in middle school, it doesn't matter. When you're in college, it doesn't matter. So why does it matter in high
When you're
school all of a sudden?
23 and 16, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like, look at us.
Well, that's my
Nobody
point.
if they have a problem with us, they can
They
talk
can
to me.
they can have their people call my people and my people are me, and all I have to say is it like let people be
It
friends.
doesn't matter.
This is what I'm
Still
saying.
friends.
Like let's just let people do what they're doing.
Let people live life.
Yeah. I mean
So,
with like obviously some caveats, but like for the most part.
yeah. Oh, exactly. There's some things that I know, like you're not gonna want to tell me, and there's some things that, like, I don't know. I feel like I tell you everything, but still, but like, whatever. Like, we can be friends. So, when I started making other friends, I guess like I made them feel as though like they weren't as important to me anymore,
Mhm.
just because they weren't as like they weren't older than me. Like they were my age, so suddenly like they just weren't important to me. And that was not my intentions at all. Like those were
Right.
like the most important people in my life. Like they were my best friends for ages. Like I loved them all dearly. And I still love them. Like obviously like the first time like I was told like how like I made them feel like I felt horrible and I sobbed for weeks about it. I was like an emotional wreck. But then like it got to the point where like I would hear some of the things that like were said and then like it honestly made me start to hate things that I loved the most. Like I dreaded going to dance class in school and dance classes outside of school simply because like I was afraid that like they were going to make more comments and make me feel silly. Because I also started like realizing how they felt about me made me realize like some of the issues I had towards them because like it opened my eyes to my own issues and then opened my eyes like okay, well if they're seeing me in this way, like but look at the things that they're doing that I was able to overlook because like I
Right.
was so blindsided by our friendship. But
Mhm.
like I feel like ever since I was younger, like just because I'm more like free spirited, like I'm a pretty laid back person in my own opinion. Like I like to goof off, I like to have a good time. And like I like that. Like I like to have a good time whenever. But I feel like that was always something that was like easily taken advantage of.
Mm.
So that was never fun. Like
Yeah.
going like from elementary school to like now currently, like it's easy to like crack a joke like when I do something funny. But like it's different when you crack a joke about something like that I do to purposely like be funny, or something that I unintentionally do that is funny. But it's different when like I'm in dance class and like I make a mistake and then it turns into like a big thing of just everyone like making fun of it. Like
Yeah.
there's a fine line between like making a joke and like simply like making fun of someone. And I don't know if it was simply just to make themselves feel better because,
Yeah.
oh, look, like she usually like in everyone else's opinion, she
Mhm.
gets praise, but then she messed up. So let's make a big deal out of it to remind people that she's not the best. Like, I don't know if that was the intentions or if it was like they weren't realizing it and they were just joking around and they just didn't realize how
Mhm.
it made me feel, because I'm not a communicating person, and I know like that's one of the things like I've struggled with for years. And it's
Mhm.
honestly simply because like I don't know how to talk to people about it, because like I don't want to make anyone feel bad about the things that they're doing, especially if
Mhm.
they don't intentionally mean it. So a lot of times I literally just sit there and take it and then
Mhm.
like cry about it later because like I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, I used to be like that. And then that's what my old therapist, Maria, and I, when we would talk about it, we called it doormat syndrome because I would just let people
Yeah,
walk
you
all
told me
over
about
me.
that. I think I have doormat syndrome.
Yeah, my new therapist just gave me a book, and I literally, it just came in the mail today, and it has a workbook in it. And she said that it's literally like life changing, and it's called Setting Boundaries. Find Oh no, hold on. Set Boundaries, Find Peace. That's the name of it. It's by, oh, I don't know how to say her name. Nedra Glover Tawab, something like that. I don't know. And she said that
Okay.
this book and the workbook is literally life-changing because it teaches you and gives you like the actual tools to set boundaries. Um
Okay.
so I don't know if that's helpful for you or anyone listening, but
Let me know how it works for you.
I'm very excited about it because um
Yeah, I wanna see how it
being
works for
able to
you.
set boundaries like is it's a way to protect yourself and to protect your
Yeah.
relationships, and when boundaries are crossed and you can't articulate that even to yourself, like you can't even have that conversation with yourself, it's just so harmful to like everything. It's not fair to like have friends cross boundaries, and like when we say like, oh, there's a fine line, like really what it is there's a boundary there and they cross the boundary. People don't always cross boundaries intentionally, and the thing is it doesn't matter whether or not something was intentional if it hurts you.
Yeah. I guess that kind of leads me into like what I ended up doing, like because
Mhm.
throughout like middle school and elementary school, like I didn't really have like a coping mechanism. I didn't like know what to
Mhm.
do, because like at that point like I just didn't know who to talk to, because simply my guidance counselor was my bully's mom. Like that was so unhelpful. That was, I feel like that couldn't have gone any worse.
Yeah, that's really inconvenient, I have
That
to
couldn't
be
have worked
honest.
out any worse for me. Honestly, I'm gonna give that partial credit to the reason that like I don't talk to people about my problems, because like I just never learned to because
Mhm.
my middle school experiences. So then I turned to animals. I turned to my animals.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I keep
Did
hitting
your
my
favorite
laptop.
topic?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Let's talk about it. Let's
Most
talk
favorite
about
topic, Sage.
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 I'm gonna
I
put a
don't
picture
even
of Sage in the podcast on YouTube so people
I'm
can see it.
literally pulling it up right now. So here's baby Sage in her first snow.
So first of all, before we get on to Stage, I do want to say like I am very proud of you because I know that at least recently the situation with you know saying goodbye to friends is really hard,
Agreed.
and even if it's like not how like sometimes people come into your life for like a reason, and that's the same with friends.
Agreed.
And friend breakups are the worst breakups, like by far, because you don't ever see a reason why they're gonna end. Like it's really difficult. It's hard to understand why you grow apart from someone, but like when friendships don't work out, it's just that you're growing in different directions, and like the your paths aren't parallel anymore. Like they're going different ways, and it's hard to see it, when you're in it, and it's hard to, like, you don't see the fact that your paths are winding away from each other. Like, you don't see it, and it can catch you off guard, and it's really hard to understand why. Like, why is this happening? Like, nothing ever made me believe that my friend wouldn't be my friend anymore. And like,
Agreed.
that's something I've dealt with a million times in my life. I dealt with that my senior year of high school, and even recently in my life I've dealt with that, and it's really hard. And so I'm proud of you because I know it's difficult. And I know that it was something you were struggling with for a while,
Yeah.
and
Came a long
I'm lucky that you do tell me these things because at least you're telling someone. Um, but I'm proud of you for the way you've handled it, and for like being really brave and protecting your peace in the ways that you can.
Yes. Because, like, the other thing too is, like, it's not like I was left like completely like friendless. Like, it's not like I was left completely clueless to fend for myself, because thankfully I've always been pretty good at like making friends. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like I have a pretty outgoing personality, as we can probably tell already.
Yeah.
From the seeing me for the first time, I think it's pretty obvious.
You think?
Yeah, maybe a little. I don't know, kind of a stretch.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thankful, like, especially for all my friends who like stuck with me through it. There we go. That's English. Although we might not be friends anymore, like, if you ever needed someone or something, like, I'm always there if you need
Yeah.
anything. But like, they're just not going to be my top choice of people anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, we had great times and they were great friends like for a while. It's just our paths separated. It
Right.
just wasn't meant. But I would come home sobbing. I feel like that's why quarantine also like took a large toll, because I was also I've been dealing with this since freshman year.
Mhm.
And here I am as a junior. Like, that was all of quarantine. So,
Holy crap.
yeah. Yeah. So I started off freshman year thriving, and then after like the summer of freshman year, that's when things started going downhill, and I was like, well, this is not going my way. And then sophomore year was a train wreck. I dreaded sophomore year. I cried multiple times a day, multiple times a week.
No.
It was horrible.
That
It
is
was
so upsetting to
absolutely
me.
atrocious.
Mm.
No, it was a bad time. Like, I'm not even gonna cover that one up. And honestly, it was a mix of like self-reflect. I feel like that's why my self-reflection was so poorly also, was because like I felt like even my own friends didn't like me, and out I wasn't out in the world. I was literally living in my room. We were all Rapunzel for a few months.
I wish I had that hair. Are you kidding? But yeah, no, you're right. We were.
Right. No. I want to grow mine. But we were all trapped for a
Mhm.
few years. So like, I wasn't getting that like one-on-one interactions with other people, so it was like my only friends at the time. Like, they didn't even like me, so like, why should I like myself? Like, that was kind of the mindset I had. And it was a poor mindset, and I know that. But like, at the time, that was my
Yeah.
mindset. Like, you know what I mean? So that's when I turned to Sage this year. So not only did I suffer with that all of sophomore year,
Mhm.
but then the summer of sophomore year, that's when I started becoming friends. Like, the beginning of sophomore year is when I started becoming friends with my friend Skylar, who
Mhm.
is now in college because she's lame.
So
So
lame.
she has.
People who go to college are lame. Did you hear that, Miss America? Brooke thinks that people that go to college are lame.
That's not true. Only because she lives far from me. That was mean. That felt personal.
That was a
So
personal attack, yes.
it was. It really was. She can go to college down the street from me. She can go to college in my house.
That's the only option. Sorry, Skylar, you must stay.
Hear that, Sky? Even Belle agrees.
Yep, that
So
I'm being 100% serious and not at all sarcastic.
totally not. Just like I'm totally not sarcastic.
Never, no. When I think Brooke
We're not
Meisenhelter, I think serious.
agreed. Me too. When I think of Belle, I don't think I've ever heard her laugh.
All right. That's a low blow.
Yeah, no, I've never heard her laugh like a day in my life.
All right. Okay.
That's the first time I met you, you laughed. The
Oh,
first like
I can't
30
stop
seconds.
laughing. I just think life is so funny in like the
Neither
best
can
way.
I. I think if you watch this video back, it's just gonna be a series of us laughing.
Probably. My cheeks already hurt. Like I I can't stop smiling. I love you, Brooke. Like I do.